Maybe.
Featuring live bird song.
Would
Yeah,
that,
I mean,
would
at
that
this time of
encourage
day, I'm
people?
okay with it.
Okay. Well, Claire is
Mm,
Claire, I think, is trying to do computer and phone, or either or. So.
Interesting.
Oh, hi, Claire. See, it's good that we're all getting on 30 minutes early, except Hannah, who thinks that she can just be late to my event.
Catherine, don't be angry.
This is the angriest you will see me all night.
Okay, is that
This
a
is
promise?
angry?
Livid.
Ah! I think there's like a screaming child somewhere. You get fucking birds, I get a screaming child. Okay, I'm gonna go get supplies to make my hair look better. You guys talk amongst yourselves.
Oh?
I'm reading the news news meeting. I'm reading this like story called "A Spade Veil" that should hopefully be like a crowd pleaser. Did everyone put anything
I completely rewrote mine yesterday.
It wasn't completely rewritten. It was like
It was completely rewritten.
no, it wasn't. It bared many similarities to the original. It was, I would say, it was just
Yeah,
a
but it
new.
only it shared maybe 20% of the original words.
Well, I wouldn't call it completely rewritten. To me, it was just like the next draft.
I mean, yeah, it had like the same beat. It followed the same beats and everything.
Catherine, I like your shirt. I have no idea what it is, but
It's just boat.
okay.
Hey, some friends that are going to be tuning in are asking, why did you make me tongs in the promo where we're all objects, Catherine?
Oh, I don't know. You just kind of felt like tongs.
Catherine, I thought that you said that you put a lot of time into picking things.
Yeah, you did tell me that also, that everything was very carefully chosen.
Just, but someone was more intuitive. Like Adrian just really seems like he really seemed like tongs in that moment.
All right.
I lit my lamp in the background.
Wow.
So
Hey, check it out.
Oh,
Yeah, so
Catherine,
everything is appropriately advertised.
What's up,
I also
Ethan?
have a
I was
Wait.
asking about your lamp.
Oh, my lamp. What about it?
Like, is it one of those lamps that's supposed to make you, like, it's supposed to have, like, health effects or something?
I'm sure people have claimed health effects, but like personally, I don't know if I'm getting health effects from it. Like, what
I
kind of
got
health
criticized
effects?
for I got criticized for essential oils, and I was like, no, I just think they smell good. Like
They do smell nice. I've always wanted to get myself a fucking diffuser. Oh, there you go. Look at that.
My whole
I want to get
collection.
myself a fucking diffuser, but they're also ungodly expensive because now all the Karens are like, I can cure cancer with eucalyptus.
yeah,
fuck.
they sell like $20 ones, but you have to go through Amazon, so that's the downside.
So that crazy vegan Jackson Foster, he like told me that.
Sorry, just entering a sentence with that. Okay.
I actually pulled out all my Jackson Foster photos that I have printed on paper. Yes, I do have some. And I was thinking of hanging them all behind me, but I just didn't get around to it. I was like reluctant. I'm just like,
That seems a little inappropriate.
oh, come on. Yeah. So
okay,
anyway.
Mom.
But yeah, he told me that he could like cure my cancer with like fruits and that I should go to Mexico. Adrian, you knew about the cancer, I hope. So anyway,
Yeah.
okay. So anyway, just checking. I don't want to like surprise anyone. So surprise cancer. So anyway, I tried this once or twice. So yeah, Jackson was like, oh yeah, like chemotherapy, that's like a scam. You should go to
the U.S. government is lying to you about cancer drugs working.
Yeah, in Mexico, there are
fruit.
clinics. We're streaming.
Oh,
We're
wow.
streaming.
Well, I mean, I don't think we're streaming. I think a picture of the flyer is streaming. I mean, I don't really care for streaming. We're just like, you know?
Well, I'll check.
Yeah, everything's on a 1 minute delay.
I see.
Oh wow.
Just your voices.
Oh, all right.
I have this setup very strangely in that I have like my
Okay, everyone.
computer here. I can't decide if I'm gonna read off my phone or if I'm gonna read off my computer, but I have that over here. And then I also have my Chromebook with the website open.
Clayton, you can keep it.
Oh, are you putting lipstick
You're putting
on?
lipstick on right now?
Oh no, I'm not putting lipstick on at all. What the fuck else would this be? Oh, I'm brushing my teeth.
No, I wasn't looking at you, and suddenly you have brown
mean-
mouth, and I got very confused.
How now, brown cow?
No, you shouldn't have filled in that little last bit. You should have just left it like undone, like just for shits and giggles to see if anybody would notice.
I wonder if I should put makeup on. Is this my internet debut? No.
It's your internet temple debut.
That is true. I mean, I watched the set that you sent me the link like 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
I was a view that was my viewing debut.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There was a show at Internet Temple several weeks ago that I watched. Claire watched some of it, I think. It was very interesting. Clayton is very good with a green screen.
Yeah, it was good.
I don't think I've
Good music too.
I don't think I've ever like met someone who like knew how to use a green screen. I have like in my like little interlude speeches, I have some like stuff I've like waxed poetic about green screens. Just wait. Just wait. You're gonna okay. Okay, let me just so you guys can get it out of your system now and laugh.
Okay.
I have this one little bit that I'm gonna do in the middle about how like a cool idea for a wedding would be to like a Zoom wedding would be to use a green screen to map you and your partner onto a video game location and get married. Like, and the example I'm gonna give is a Super Mario Brothers 3 airship.
I want to get married on a Super Mario Brothers 3 airship. That sounds fucking great.
With a green screen. You're just in your
fuck it,
house.
yeah, obviously.
Are people doing Zoom weddings right now?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like I would just put it off. It's like if you're gonna spend your whole life with another human being, hypothetically, why wouldn't you just wait?
Yeah.
That would be funny though. Like, haha, we're getting married on Zoom. Sorry, guys.
Tangentially.
I don't know if the funny would like.
Can you use not the computer to put it on? Can you like not?
I'm glad I did my eyebrows using the computer before you showed up.
Okay.
I'm done, everyone. Wait, am I done? Yeah, I'm done.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're warming up.
Yeah, that's what this is.
Everyone do your voice exercises.
Yeah.
La, 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 la.
Should I make my background more interesting? Is that a thing I should worry about?
And just to make
That
it.
I live in a completely
The
white
most I've done
room.
is I dragged this plant 2 feet over, so it actually is in frame.
Oh, it makes a difference.
It does make a difference. It really makes, because otherwise it's just my fucking this little shitty painting up here, and me, which is very not interesting.
It's a nice like overall effect.
This is
The most
this is also,
interesting
the
part
least interesting wall in my house. Like no, seriously, I literally have I put a lawn on my wall. I should be really doing it in front of that, but that would require me to, like, redo my entire. You know what? Fuck it. I have the time. Fuck it. I'm gonna reset.
The most interesting part of my room is my closet, and that seems it would be awkward to contort in front of that.
Was it really? Yeah.
Yeah. So I used to have I used to have a third bedroom here, and then I built it, and then I took it apart. Because that's the thing. No, but see, now it's just green. Never mind.
Wait,
Never
you
mind.
built a bedroom?
Yeah. My dad is a contractor, or was a contractor, and then 2008 happened. but you know, he's still that, and I just kind of grew up with him teaching me how to build shit. So I literally fucking built a 3rd bedroom in my house without my landlord knowing, and it cut my rent by new $300 a month. You got a 30 racket natty. That's professional.
Prove it. Fucking prove it.
Fucking
get on video.
Yeah, Pixar didn't have it.
Video. You don't have to get naked on camera. We just need to see proof of the rack.
He has nothing to say to that.
There you go.
Who's gonna be the one to get naked on camera? Like someone has to do it.
All right, start placing your bets, folks. Somebody's gonna.
Catherine, aren't all of our relatives gonna watch this? Like the Catholic side of the family?
No, I don't think so.
Uh-oh.
Oh, okay.
Clayton has a very interesting tattoo. Well, I guess it's going to be up to him if he displays it or not.
Who has an interesting tattoo, Clayton?
Clayton has an interesting tattoo.
Okay, what do you mean by interesting though? Because interesting can mean like an MC Escher Bart Simpson, or it can mean like a literal penis. Like
it's I'm just gonna he has to describe it. I like haven't like really seen it except like on the live stream that one time.
Commendable answer, I suppose.
I'm just like looking at the chat. He's just like looking at the computer, shaking his head like idiots.
Yeah, is that the energy?
Okay, so here's my tattoo idea. I think half of you know this already, but so anyway, so my 26th birthday, aka the 26th anniversary of the O.J. Simpson Bronco chase, is coming up. And so in honor of the day I was born.
Were you born the same day as that happened?
Oh yeah.
That's beautiful.
But really your birthday, it's like you don't even have to call it the 26th anniversary. It's like any specific day is like the 25th and 271st day anniversary.
Shut up! This is my day.
That's sort of the nature.
So I'm thinking. I was thinking about getting like a tattoo of the chase, like a tattoo of like the Bronco. Get a tattoo of the Bronco with like some police cars behind it.
Yeah. Wait, no, that's good. That's a really good idea.
And then it would say underneath just like 6/17/94.
It's a bit narcissistic though.
I'm pretty into that.
No, it's not narcissistic. It's taking.
It's a tattoo commemorating your own birth.
It's not only a tattoo commemorating my birth. It is a tattoo.
It's an homage to.
Yeah, it's commemorating a really historic event.
A historic event that just so happened to coincide with my coming into the world.
Yeah, but if you weren't born on that day, would you then still get the same tattoo?
No. Then I would have like no I would have no connection to that day. Hello.
Who joined?
Hello.
Oh, all right.
Sorry, I'm late.
It's okay. Hannah's going to be later than you.
Oh, okay.
Here's some things that happened on my birthday, apparently. The Great Tokyo Fire. Japan formally surrendered. Vietnam declared independence.
How old are you?
Well, I was born September 2nd.
Oh.
I'm saying no, not things that literally nothing happened.
Well, oh wait, I understand the joke. The joke.
Yeah.
Literally, the newspaper from the day I was born was like, "It's a beautiful day in New York City." Nothing happened.
That's fucking boring.
I share my birthday with Meryl Streep and Elizabeth Warren, who are probably like my 2 least favorite people to share a birthday with.
I have MC Escher and Kendrick Lamar.
Meryl's tight.
MC Escher has now come up twice in the past like 10 minutes.
That's awesome.
Second famous birthdays. Keanu Reeves. Yeah. All right. That's cool. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Hayek, I guess.
Oh wait, Tim, I was gonna introduce you as like Tim has the same birthday as wait, what?
Actor Gary Oldman and celebrity baby Bradley Cooper's daughter.
Tim shares a birthday with actor Gary Oldman and celebrity Bradley Cooper's daughter.
I don't know if she's still a baby, but when I thought of that joke, she was. But I don't.
And she's more of a youth now.
That's such an insult to Gary Oldman.
Oh, I also share the birthday of the last Queen of Hawaii.
Wow, I like you so much more now.
That's actually pretty cool.
That's kind of cool, I guess.
That's cool.
Is anyone else looking up their birthdays?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the guy from Scrubs, and I have Cyndi Lauper also. Oh, Diane Feinstein. Wow.
Ooh.
Wow.
Wait, Zach Braff from Scrubs or Donald Faison?
The second one.
Okay.
Yeah, not Zach Braff. Isn't Zach Braff dating the woman from Midsummer? Even though they have like a 30-year age difference.
Let's find out.
I keep up on my celebrity gossip.
Zach Braff dating history. Google is listening to me. He is dating Florence Pugh?
Pugh, yeah.
Sir.
That's her.
Is in fact the chick from is she? Hold on, is that true?
Yeah, she's also in Little Women.
The chick from Midsummer.
Okay, I just really want Mike to talk about what birthday they share their birthday with, so I'm just gonna look it up myself.
You know everyone in this chat's birthday?
I know Mike's birthday.
Is this how you're gonna introduce us?
No, I didn't have enough time. I already have introductions written for all of you, actually.
Do you want to pen them in right now, all the birthdays?
Let's see.
Them and replacing them with spies that are now watching us. The birds work for the bourgeoisie.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one.
That's the one.
Wow, Mike, you really don't share your birthday with anyone. Interesting.
I got Jim Henson, and I think Madonna. No, maybe Madonna. I don't know. I don't remember.
I haven't read the whole list yet. No, you don't share your birthday with Madonna. Sorry.
Oh. Do you have my birthday right?
It's September 24th, right?
Oh yeah! Wow. Jesus.
Wait, no. September. No, don't. September 24th, 1989. No, fuck, 87. Which one is it?
So the only thing that means to me is you're slightly older than Taylor Swift. I do not know by how much, but her seminal album.
Let's see. Ethan, your birthday is, you were born on April 5th, 1997.
Astonishingly good job, Catherine.
Okay. Clayton was born on March 16th, 1993.
Damn, I'm the oldest one here, huh?
Oh, by a long shot. Clayton, am I right? Type.
Old.
Why do you know these things? This
okay,
is
Tim was born. Tim was born on March 21st, 1992.
Oh my God.
This is really
does not seem to be looking these up. Like she can just
No. Clayton, you told me your birthday once, and then you said something about your graduation year, and then
Fun fact, in my introduction, Catherine includes my birthday, but she got it wrong, so not infallible.
No, I changed it.
You said it that we were 5 days and 5 months apart, when that is factually incorrect.
So Mike is the oldest here at 32. Claire is the youngest here at 20.
Yep.
Adrian, I don't know. I'm gonna guess you were born in 1997.
That's correct, yeah.
But I don't know your month and day.
I just said September 2nd, motherfucker.
I missed it. Now I missed it.
Chat.
No. And Hannah. Hannah, who's not here. Hannah was born on February.
Here.
What?
Am I the youngest here?
No, Claire is.
Claire's the youngest. Right,
okay. Hannah was born on February 8th, 1995.
Well, she's not here to confirm, so.
Yeah, well.
My mom lied at the car repair place today and said I was 21 so that I could drive a rental car, but then they asked to see my driver's license, and then my mom was like, never mind.
Did she think they wouldn't ask for your driver's license?
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, guys, we're on in 2 minutes.
Ooh.
My mom was like, oh, I guess I got confused, and I was like, stop.
So I guess Clayton is the one who decides. I think it would be cool to have us like all on like in a little grid at first to just be like, hey, and then I guess
It's
I'm
the gang.
And I guess I'm in control of thank you. And then I guess I'm in control of the mutes. So I'll just kind of like mute everyone when it's like someone's turn.
Mm.
You don't want my cackling in the background?
You don't what?
You don't want my cackling in the background of everyone's story?
So, Catherine, we don't get to know who's watching on Internet Temple. It's just completely anonymous.
Yeah, it's anonymous.
Change their names.
Wow.
The audience is here. People are in their seats. I know some people are watching, but I think that when Adrian's reading, I'm just gonna text people who are watching to remind them. I have like a whole list of like this is very strategic on my part, who I'm contacting. Mike, I like your lipstick. It's the same color as mine.
Is it? Yours looks more purple.
What's yours?
Mine's kind of like a reddish brown.
Mine's kind of like
yours
purple
is also
brown.
a reddish brown. Is that the MAC one, Catherine? Yeah, I know that one.
This is like the least amount of makeup I've worn in a while for an event in which other people are going to be looking at my face.
That's what
everyone can hear you, but please let me know when you want to start and I'll change it to your wonderful faces.
Oh my goodness.
This is good. I got terribly sunburnt yesterday, so I just put a thin layer of lacquer on top to hide it.
Glaze yourself delicately.
Basically.
Ooh, Katie's watching.
Ooh, lacquer.
Oh wow.
Lacquer.
I feel like doing shout outs is kind of terrifying.
Dude, shout outs are like, it's the fun of Internet Temple.
What?
So anyway, Clayton, you can make our beautiful faces.
To use a username. Also, we're live.
You go to tell her to go to internettemple.org.
No, mom was asking like, she was like, "What's
Clayton? Put our faces on." I'm just waiting for that message that says that we're all on the air. Oh my God, we're live! Live from apartments and houses.
Mm-hmm.
This is Emulsion, a literary reading with banjo featuring people, all of whom are visible here, except for Hannah, because Hannah likes to be late, but that's okay because I put her second to last.
It works out.
So, okay.
Catherine, we're live.
We are live. Okay, well, I'm Catherine. Does everyone want to? Okay, I'm here with Adrian, Tim, Claire, Mike, Ethan, and Clayton, who's not visible. So those who've known me for a certain length of time will know that I like to take artists and smash them together, mostly in the form of zines. And I was thinking about doing another one to connect us all during the pandemic or something like that, but I wasn't really in the mood for something so static. And a month ago, I happened to meet someone named Clayton who co-owns this online performance venue, and we decided to do this after knowing one another for a total of 14 days. He is handling the entire technical aspect of it and will also be performing tonight, so thank you. And also thank you to Toby, who created this venue several years ago. I wasn't able to get an exact number of years. And thank you to my mom, Nancy, for letting me use her premium Zoom account. Our first reader is Adrian Belmez. I first met Adrian at San Diego State University Zine Club, and I did not go to SDSU, nor have I ever been a student, and I never will be, but I know a few people there, and I would hang out after driving 30 miles and paying for parking. That's how bored I was. Hi, Hannah.
Hello.
So Adrian publishes his heavy poetry in indie lit mags everywhere and has his finger on the pulse of what all the cool ones are. I am a copycat and I stalk his Twitter to find places to submit.
You're a motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm a motherfucker. So far, I've had 2 stories published in journals that I've heard of only because of you.
I say, no, honestly, that's the highest compliment that I could give.
Adrian, I've respected you for over 2 years now, and previously to that, I didn't know you. He puts out chapbook anthologies under the name Bad Lung Press. And I'm just improvising. His first one that I knew of was Public Private, which was an anthology of kind of like diary type social media entries, and it was a commentary on like how to be like, we know, to have like a diary but in such a public space. And then there was another one called Nobody Knows You're a Dog, and it was about online anonymity. And there's a new one out about role-playing games. So anyway, where was I? If you want to be published in one of his chapbooks, including the upcoming one about the liminal space of airports, please talk to him. So now I'm going to gracefully, manually mute everyone but Adrian. And then he can...
Cool. All right. I can see people are muted, so I'm going to just go for it. Yes, hello. I guess I should just go right into it. I'll be reading a short story called 40 Doses. I have an interesting fascination with like crime and weird murder stories. So this is actually based on a completely true story that I've extrapolated completely nonsensically. So without further ado, I'm just going to go into it. In the balmy June of 1979, the drive-in is on fire. The smoke rises high over the Guadalupe River, but the kids on the blanket in the park across the way hardly notice. George Jr. is too busy hiking up Mary Allen's skirt to care about the indistinct whiff of asbestos and lead in the air. It's June. Of course there's a fire. Just last week, the dropouts from Tibby High lit up a garbage can in the Calvary Temple parking lot. Ma says it's Satan. George Jr. knows it's the boredom. The summer's only started and there's not a fucking thing to do. 2 days before, George takes Mary to the movies. He doesn't have to beg Pa for the keys this time, so he's feeling big as he pulls onto Gilmer Street, stops at the corner of 4th, and honks twice to the yellow house on the left. Mr. Allen eyes him through the blinds, and Mary bounces out the door. She's been waiting. They don't kiss until George Jr. rounds the corner back down to the 1350 block of Junction Highway, where the Bolero Drive-In's been in Kerrville, longer than he's been on God's tan and taupe-colored earth. Like any good boy from the vacuous heart of Central Texas, George Jr. pays for his date. He counts out $6.02 in change to Betty Stotts in the ticket booth. She counts it back, peels off 2 little pink tickets from the roll in the office, rips them in half, keeping the numbers, and hands back the stubs. It's a stupid little process, she knows, but that's just how it goes. Betty's been there 2 decades, at least. Ever since the kids skipped town, there's not been a thing for her to do but ask Howard Heigl up the road for a job. He's a good neighbor, Mr. Heigl. Betty likes the movies well enough. The variety is nice if the quality isn't. Sometimes she'll sneak Mr. Stotts into the booth and they'll do it like the kids. Not watching it all, but letting the sound drown them. Betty likes the booth. It's cozy, but big enough for 2. Her Buick doesn't have enough room for fun like that, but there's an awful lot of seat in George Sr.'s dear old F-100. After he parks a truck in the lot, all George Jr. can remember is the title card, the popcorn grease, and the thick musk of Mary Allen's flower-printed penny panties on the dashboard. The projector is warming up on the 16th of June in 1979, and Betty's thinking about calling Mr. Stotts. It's the same damn cheap flick as before. Something about a bear in a river. The toxic waste in the ossipee makes him a killer, but Betty doesn't know what an ossipee is. She doesn't know that Randy Wolz is watching her and thinking about rivers too. He's been driving along the Guadalupe's edge since Medina, just following the road as best he can on 40 doses of Valium. It's not the most Randy has ever taken, but it's the first time he's taken it liquid. 2 nights ago, as George Jr. pulls Mary Allen's pennies off her thighs in the front seat of his Ford pickup, Randy Wolves breaks the lock off a door in Hondo. What he wants is pills, but all that small-town drugstore has is vials. Maybe that's why he miscalculates. In Medina, Randy's digging a needle into his arm and hoping he's missing the muscle. There's hardly a viable line in the gray and skinny flesh of his bicep. It burns all the way down. In Kerrville, Randy sweeps crushed cans of Coors off the floor with his feet, and he leaves his Chrysler in a ditch off McFarland, lurching across 2 intersections to the 1350 block of Junction Highway. Randy's stumbling through the sodium lights. Betty's still thinking about calling Mr. Stotts when he hits her over the head with a tire iron. There's some debate about the origin, but the jury later figures Randy found it somewhere in the lot. With so many cars passing through, it seems likely that something should fall out of a boot in the bustle and nobody should notice. The shock of the impact strikes Betty dumb, just long enough to push her into the little closet in the back of the booth, knocking rolls and rolls of tickets off the shelf. Randy Lynn Wolves cuts her throat when she screams. He's never killed before, and even now, he doesn't think he's killing. He still doesn't think he's killing when he stabs her 9 times and throws his lighter in. Betty's alive when she sees the rolls of pink tickets catch fire and the plastics start to melt. In all, it takes minutes, just enough for the light to change on the intersection of Main and Junction Highway. The cars are turning right into the lot again, so Randy closes the door and opens the register. In court, he claims he doesn't remember this part, but George Jr.'s got both hands firmly on the wheel in the drive-in. Maybe he thinks it's strange that Betty's out for the night, but he can't smell the smoke as Randy Lynn Wolves takes his 2 cents and $6, peels off 2 pink tickets, and hands back the stubs. He's got other things on his mind. George Jr. circles twice. The night is packed. He smells the popcorn and thinks about penny panties. He's burning, but Mary Allen is nervous with 400 spots tight in the car park. You really want to do this again, George? Why don't we get some fresh air? By the time George pulls out, the booth gets too hot for Randy to stay. He empties the register, takes the keys to Betty's beater off the counter, and shuts the door. The movie's just getting started as the parking Buick swerves and clips the bumper of the fleeing Ford. George Sr. asks about it later, but tonight, George Jr. zips back onto Junction Highway. Mary Allen gets all the sky in Laura Hayes Park as Betty burns in the Bolero. The kindling's mightily good. Mr. Heigl doesn't see the fire for another 10 minutes. He sees Betty's Buick first, and that ain't Betty in the driver's seat. It's Randy that's kicking his feet onto the dash and counting the bills and change. His hands can hardly grip the paper as it goes tumbling into the cracks. Later, the court tells him it was $600, and he marvels at the sum. It couldn't have been that good a movie, not that he was watching. Mr. Heigl's watching the ticket booth. 20 minutes after Betty dies, he calls it in. He's a good neighbor. By the time George Jr. takes his face out of Mary Allen's pennies in the park long enough to see the squad car lights and big red engine come down Junction Highway, the column of ash that's been pouring out the ticket booth has irreparably damaged the screen of the Bolero drive-in. It never quite gets repaired. And every actor in every film that's ever shown after looks a little gray in the face. Nobody notices that night, but they do the day after when the whole thing hits the papers. Randy Lynn Wolves, too gutted to move under the influence of drugs and beer, is still sitting in the car when he's arrested. On 40 doses of Valium, Your Honor, there's no way Mr. Wolves knew what he was doing. In the August of 1989, Randy's on the table and the technician can't find a vein. An addict all his life, he's got no trouble pointing out a thin line of blue on the back of his palm. When the plunger gets pulled, it burns all the way down. Nobody's crying when they close the Bolero that year. There's just no interest in drive-ins anymore. That's all I've got for you. Thank you.
Okay, I'm unmuting everyone because everyone unmute themselves because I don't know. I just want all of us on the screen at the same time. Clayton, can you do that for me? Thank you. So thank you, Adrian. Ever since I started planning this, I've been thinking about the concept of an MC. And I can't help but think of Nick Cannon hosting America's Got Talent. He would scream and scream, trying to get our attention, but for some reason, I just wanted to look away from him. It was like he was a giant void, but he was still essential. Think about it. Couldn't you just imagine one act going after another with no introductions or thank yous? Something small, Something small but crucial would be missing, like a face with no eyebrows. Oh my God, I'm not recording this. Wait, Clayton, you're recording this. Good thing that we have backup, right? Please answer me. So anyway, oh, thank heaven. Thank heaven. Okay. Clayton saves the day. Okay. Catherine, you are our Nick Cannon, says Love Lag. Sinostan, Clayton coming in clutch with the IT work. Wilding out with Catherine. Okay, I think I'm caught up now. Clap emojis. Oh my God, this fucking chat. This motherfucking chat. Okay. Hey, everyone. Okay. Our next reader is Timothy, full name, Timothy Day. Tim for short. So Tim and I first met on the internet shortly after Donald Trump was elected president. We were in the same literary magazine, which is now gone forever. And I asked him several months into our correspondence if he liked Donald Trump. And luckily he said no. But I would have guessed as much because he was getting his creative writing MFA at Portland State. We were long distance pen pals for the first 3 years, and now we both live in the same city and we're regular friends. It feels like it should be weirder, but it feels ordinary. His pieces have been widely published, most notably in the Adroit Journal, and he usually writes in a non-narrative magical realism style. He shares a birthday with actor Gary Oldman and Bradley Cooper's daughter. And I need to apologize to everyone. So one of the flyers had this advertisement on it that said, come to Emulsion featuring this sentence. I believe it was like Jody emerged from the office with a megaphone and announced that Dan had broken his body. Well, I'm sorry, but that sentence will not be read by Tim tonight. He decided not to read his story Dirt. Instead, he is reading another one, A Space for Dale, a newer story. Now, I'm going to mute everyone now because it's Tim's turn. Ah!
Thank you so much, Catherine, for that wonderful introduction. Especially the Bradley Cooper's daughter part. I appreciate that. Here's A Space for Dale. My friend Dale came storming over at 9 a.m, knocking on my bedroom window. I need your car, Dale shouted through the pane. I have an interview. I nodded, though this confused me. Dale was 34 and had been ardently against getting a job for as long as I'd known him, which, granted, was only a few months. Dale had become my neighbor when I moved back in with my parents in the suburbs after losing my job. We lived in a neighborhood of parents, me with mine and Dale with his. Dale had on a nice pair of black slacks, but wore only a gray t-shirt on top. Is that what you're wearing? I shouted back through the window. Dale threw his hands up. I don't actually want the job, stupid. In the car, Dale explained that he was only attending the interview to please his mother. He had left the house looking completely professional, but had stuffed his dress shirt into a storm drain on the way over. Won't she notice that it's gone when you return? I pointed out. Dale considered this for a moment. Shit. Dale showed me the drain he crammed the shirt in, and we got down on our hands and knees, feeling inside. Sure enough, the shirt was still there, now fairly dirty. I'll have to wash this at your place afterwards, Dale said. Okay, I said. Dale threw the shirt in the backseat of my car and we took off. Our hands had gotten pretty dirty too, and Dale rubbed some of the mud off on his nice black slacks. Driving out of the suburbs at this hour, I could have been going to work. I pictured myself arriving at an office and sharing banal greetings with coworkers. The fantasy had its pros and cons, but the acceptance from others that it involved felt great. Dale was interviewing for a parking lot attendant job. Retrieving his dress shirt had set us back a few minutes, and we were a little late. I suggested we could just go to the mall or something, and he could say he'd been at the interview. But Dale said it felt better this way, telling his mother he went, if he had actually gone. I assumed I'd be staying in the car for the interview, but Dale didn't share this expectation. It feels weird, you just sitting here and waiting, he said. You're not my chauffeur. But it's your interview, I said. But it's not like a real one. So I got out of the car and followed Dale in his t-shirt and mud-stained slacks. The interview was being held in a booth in front of the parking lot. The woman interviewing him seemed to be in a slight daze when we arrived, and didn't notice our presence until Dale tapped on the glass. She started and chuckled as she opened the small door inside the booth. "Sorry," she said, "it's been one of those mornings." I smiled and nodded in a way that suggested that I too was having one of those mornings. "We're late," Dale said amiably. The woman introduced herself as Sandy. Once she determined which one of us was interviewing, Dale went into the small booth while I leaned on the glass and listened. "Could you start by telling me why you want this job?" Sandy asked. "I don't," Dale said. His tone remained affable. "I'm just here so I can tell my mother I went." Sandy laughed. "I see," she said. "It wasn't a joke," Dale said. "Are you sure?" "I am." Sandy made a note on her clipboard and groaned. "But like, you definitely don't want the job. I need to make this hire today, and it's basically just sitting here a few nights a week." Dale nodded. "Passed." Back at my parents' house, Dale and I hung around in my room while Dale washed his shirt and slacks. "I think maybe you should have taken that job, Dale," I said. Dale stood in his t-shirt and underwear, looking out the window at the neat, quiet cul-de-sac. Dale made my parents nervous, and they were watering the grass from an unusual distance to avoid his field of view. "The hell are you talking about?" "It sounded like a pretty good gig," I said. "It's still a schedule," Dale said. "Still a cage." "Yeah, but like, isn't this life we're living kind of its own cage?" Dale said nothing. It was then that I had an idea. "Say, Dale," I ventured, "what would you think if I went for that job?" Dale chuckled. "You disappoint me." I wasn't sure Sandy would be interested in hiring me, but she seemed relieved when I called and told me I could start Monday. I hung up the phone and felt proud of myself for being such a go-getter. His clothes dried, Dale left without saying a word, and I hoped he wasn't too angry with me. I'd come to value his companionship. On the first day of my new job, Sandy gave me my work vest. It was an outfit I had seen on countless employed people throughout my life, but never imagined I would wear myself. Sandy got her things and wished me luck. "Most days I won't even know if you're here," she said, as if she hoped I would take advantage of the fact. 2 hours into my shift, not one car had entered the lot. At one point, a sedan had looked as if it was about to pull into the lot, and I was retracing my thoughts through the protocol Sandy had gone over with ticketing. They gave you $5, you give them a ticket. But then the driver changed their mind and kept going down the street. It was a little after midnight when Dale showed up at the lot. He was wearing his black slacks and dress shirt, all buttoned up and tucked in, and his hair was combed back nicely. "Hey, Dale," I said, "check out my vest." Dale studied my uniform, then huffed in a manner that suggested he was not impressed. "Kinda cool, I guess," he said. He cleared his throat and ran a hand through his hair. He'd put a remarkable amount of gel in it. "Listen, I've been thinking, and seems to me like I deserve a cut of your earnings." "No way," I said. "Get out of here." "A finder's fee," Dale insisted. "You wouldn't have even known about this job if it weren't for me." As Dale spoke, the first car of the night pulled up to the booth. It was a big old semi-truck, faded with dirt from the road. I held up a finger to the driver like, "Just a second," as I considered Dale's argument. It was true that I would not have come to know of this opportunity if not for Dale. "Okay," I said. "I hear you, Dale. Maybe 10%? 25, Dale said. "Else I walk." "Walk where?" "Away from this friendship." "Excuse me," said the truck driver. "I'd like to get this bit over with." "Please, sir," I said. "Just a moment." "Guy needs to mind his own business," Dale said. "What's that now?" The truck driver gave Dale a look. "I said you're a nosy Nicholas," Dale shouted. "My name is Tom," said the truck driver. "Then you're terrible," Dale said. "Terrible, Tom." "I don't think it has to match up with the person's actual name," I said. Tom got out of the truck and came to stand by me and Dale. He took his hat off and began kneading it. He looked sweaty and tired. "I think you meant terrific," he mumbled, looking down at his hat. "Terrific, Tom." I could tell that Dale could tell he'd hurt Tom's feelings. After an awkward silence, he stepped forward and gave Tom a light pat on the shoulder. No, he said, I meant tremendous. Tremendous Tom, I added from the booth. Tom smiled and gave us a nod. Tremendous Tom, he echoed. That's you, Dale said. After more nods and smiles, Tremendous Tom got back in the truck and gave me $3 for parking. I said that it was actually $5, and he grumbled something and backed out of the lot. It was just me and Dale again, surrounded by all those empty spaces. The parking lot looked very much like how I imagined my life would look, if you considered it metaphorically. Dale sighed. Okay, he said, let's make it 20%. And I agreed, because I wanted a guy like Dale in one of my life spaces. Thank you, everyone. That's it.
Okay, I'm unmuting everyone.
Right.
Or pressing ask to unmute. Okay.
That was weird. It felt so silent.
Yeah.
What felt so silent? The
Just
applause?
like everyone else being muted. It felt very lonely.
Yeah. Wow. I wonder, like, it's like when you're walking around in, like, if you go to the county fair and you put in your headphones and you're listening to like ambient music and you're just like, oh my God, it's like there's all this chaos around you, but you're hearing something completely different. It's just a deep experience, a deep human experience.
Sounds like a very Catherine experience.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very universally relatable.
So this chat is on fucking fire. Okay, wow. I think literally everyone I've ever met is in the chat. Okay.
Hell yeah.
So let's see.
Great audience.
So okay, so next we have Ethan Cutler. Ethan, your intro was originally longer, but there are a bunch of references to how we didn't like a certain person and would make fun of them. And I'm just like, that's not appropriate. What if it gets back to them? No thanks. But that person deserved to have the bad things said about them. So anyway, here's my short intro for you, which was to not reflect the great love I have for you. Okay, Ethan was an editor at the Colorado College Student Magazine Cypher, and I was the web archivist. And he definitely didn't like me at first, but then he quickly realized my articles were good, and then he did like me. Ethan majored in philosophy and regularly reads The New Yorker. He also likes Zen Buddhism and sustainable farming, and he lives in Denver. And he's going to be reading some poetry for us tonight. He has I'm just going to improvise a little bit now. He has a very, oh man, I can't think of it. He has a very specific voice that he puts into his writing that I'm just very fond of. Maybe it's because I know him, but I really think that it comes through. And he's, and there's this one really great poem he's going to read for us tonight that I'm really excited about. And when I planned this reading, it was the first thing I thought of, like, oh, this poem is going to be in the reading. And then Clayton said that he wanted to get the poem tattooed on his back. And that's when I knew that this reading was meant to be. Okay, so I'm going to now gracefully mute everyone but Ethan.
Okay, thanks, Catherine. Your description of me, I think if I was that person, I would hate me, which is alarming, but it's true that I read The New Yorker. Okay, the first poem is this poem that Catherine insisted that I read, that I put in a zine multiple years ago. And the only copy I have of it is the photo of the zine that Catherine took and sent to me, actually. So that's what I'm reading from. It's called Congratulations, You've Won. Please don't leave this page. Your profile will no longer be visible on LinkedIn. You will no longer be able to make connections to advance your career. You're about to permanently delete your Facebook account. Are you sure? Remember, Ethan Cutler, Jesse, Emily, and Sea Springs Walgreens will miss you. How will you connect with your friends? What if you forget what your ex-girlfriend looks like in profile? You're about to delete your Twitter account. Is this goodbye? Are you sure you don't want to reconsider? Was it something we said? 100 years from now, there will be no way to know you ever lived. Consider all the good times you had with your head resting in your hand, your soft eyes roasting nicely in the fluorescent blue light of our binary love. You can't have it both ways. We love the way your eyeballs dry out and bleed. You were so close to becoming a body without organs. You are almost like us, patchworks of other people's dreams. What will you be instead? You know there is no self to go back to. Your timeline will be erased forever. You cannot sign up with the same username again. Don't worry, this is not goodbye. Okay, and then in the print, there's this little section at the bottom that doesn't really come across in the audio, but it says, if you like this poem, please click below to follow and subscribe. Please like me. Please touch me. Please. Okay. Two more poems. So this second poem I wrote after I read a poem by Nick Laird, which was called Fun for One, and I thought it captured some of the solitary feelings of quarantine life very well. But for those of us who aren't working or working from home and are quarantining with other people, maybe one other person who you love, it can feel very different from quarantining alone. There's some like unexpected romance, but also a lot of like existential claustrophobia or something like that. So anyway, I wrote a poem called Fun for Two. Fun for two. Leave a mug of coffee on the edge of a shelf for days till the milk rises and swirls suspiciously. Piss on the toilet seat and deny it. Make tea with the good tea and don't ask if he wants any. When you sit down at the table and settle into the whirl of the ceiling fan turning slowly above you, you'll see that he wants you to speak, to inquire, to anything. Say nothing and pull out your phone. When she comes to you complaining about her mother, say, yeah, that sucks, in that half-dead way you've so mastered. When he takes up French on a whim and quits a week later, look up from your phone and say, damn, I bet on 2 weeks. Say it with just enough dog-eyed innocence to keep him from noticing the sting he felt. See how slights stack up silently, like light platters someone places in your outstretched arms. One by one, they have a weight you don't quite notice, till they slip, fall and clatter, slide and scatter over the hardwood floor with the scraping sound of those harsh words that will never get forgotten. Well, you've grown the wrong kind of close. Go lay in different rooms. Find those austere and lonely offices you've heard of love having. Say nothing until loneliness has long since banished pride, and it's been so long since your heart's been with his that every object in the house seems an image of desire. 6 wet strawberries in a blue bowl, the empty ice cream container with finger streaks, the old coffee mug on the shelf, the piss on the toilet seat while we're at it. Now get up, you strange bird. Go to them and do it all again, but gentler, gentler. Okay, that's the end of the second poem. The third poem is also needs a little bit of explanation. My window in my bedroom faces east, and my girlfriend refuses to buy blinds. So I wake up at 5 a.m. every day. And I will often just like walk to Cheeseman Park, which is a park in Denver near my house. And I also go there in the evenings pretty often. So this is a poem about that park. It's called How We Neglect the Old Masters. And it starts with an epigraph from Auden. And this is the epigraph. About suffering, they were never wrong, the old masters. How well they understood its human position, how it takes place while someone else is eating or opening a window or just walking dully along. One, the dead leaves and the homeless are cleared at dawn, making an odd exodus, a slow wake of detritus. Bikes, shopping carts, bottles and buttons all glinting in the rake of long light coming through the well-trimmed trees. Grumbling, they trail laces and leashes which catch on blades of grass. Textures proliferate, folds and layers of clothes, wrinkles and scars and craters in the skin, and at the rear, as if by providence, a bleary-eyed government employee in an orange traffic vest in a white pickup, intoning, let's go, to his reluctant, weary congregation. 2. Still further behind, the first walker of the day ogles the pitiable, makes lightness of the many beat-down people, like some vampiric thing, doing what poets nicely try not to do. By late afternoon, the park is downright utopian. The grass has that clean chemical green look. Women wear tight pants with monochrome pastels. Cellulite only rarely wrinkles the texturelessness of their thighs. Meanwhile, others make themselves elegant simulacra of the homeless style. One joins a volleyball game. Her hair is wild but clean. Her sky blue jeans are in tatters and her taut skin shines with sweat. The men still have neat gradients in their haircuts, and their dark flannel shirts are tight at the muscled chests. The one I love most arches up from the ground into a pose, inhales the air, delicious and dry, and basks like an animal in the surface of things. 4. I walked for hours, forgive me, loving the sight of them. Wouldn't you too be forgiven for thinking the river of misery had been successfully diverted, or filtered, maybe, leaving a clear, rocky stream to rinse the eyes and heart clean? 5. Yes, even now, no, especially now, in the midst of more dying than usual, it's possible to go to the park and feel like death itself is banished daily, like it's dust, like it's weeds, like it's dreams, like death is a scrawny cat that just keeps coming to the door. All right, that's all. Thanks.
Okay, unmuting everyone. Again, this is just going to be like a ungraceful recurring theme. Me slowly clicking mute or unmute or ask to unmute. So anyway, so I'm like, this is obviously a lot of things are going on right now, and I was very distracted, and I accidentally like looked at the wrong place in my little program thing, and I accidentally skipped a reader. I'm such an idiot, and I also skipped an interlude. So I'm going to read the interlude first, and then introduce the next reader. Since you've all made
react. Okay.
React all you want. I unmuted all of you.
How could you?
Except Clayton is still mute. Let's see, and invisible. Yeah. So anyway, let's see what's going on in the chat now. You are a beautiful poet. Let's see.
So
Secret
beautiful.
BF.
I loved it.
Katie's hanging out in the chat. Hi, Katie. Hi, Emma. So anyway, let's see. Since you've all made it this far, I'm going to throw in a little confession. I talk to my stuffed lamb about 15 times a day. I would also like to give a special thanks to Paul Jan, who lives in the Netherlands, who got up at 3:45 a.m. to watch this.
Oh my god.
Wow. That's sick.
I know. Paul Jan and I know each other from Twitter. Let's see. So our next reader is my younger sister, Claire. So sorry for skipping you. I'm a complete idiot. So
Okay.
Claire's 5 years, 5 days younger than me, and she's majoring at molecular biology at Scripps College in Southern California, which is not the same thing as Scripps Institute of Oceanography. In her free time, she is really good at makeup, as well as creating detailed graphite pencil portraits and compiling photos of celebrity doppelgangers. Occasionally, she writes, and she has studied with the author Jonathan Lethem, whom she despises. And she's recently gained admission to a competitive creative writing class. The following fiction piece was her response to a high school English essay prompt about cause and effect. And here we go, muting again.
I would like to note that what I wrote was supposed to be an analytical essay, but I do my best to. I actually don't think I turned in a single analytical essay that entire year. And so this is one of many pieces I turned out as fake intellectual property for a grade. I also have my resume open, so if I start reading from that by mistake, I'm sorry. And so my piece is called 4 Quick Tips to Save Your Back. Let's be real, injuring your back can be a real pain in the neck. Back pain is the most common injury affecting Americans, with over 80% of people suffering at some point in their lives. A hurt back can take you out of all the fun in life, so here's a few quick tips to keep you out there in working order. Step 1, be careful lifting. Many people make dangerous mistakes while lifting furniture or boxes that can easily lead to strain. It's crucial to avoid the bend at the waist method for picking up heavy objects. Instead, try a squat lift. When you're picking up heavy boxes, bend at the knees to shift the weight down and away from your spine and into your quads and calves. It should come in handy while you're moving out. Luckily, you don't have much stuff to move anyway. Her apartment was mostly empty of all evidence of your existence. If it wasn't for the dirty towels you left around or the second toothbrush, it would be almost impossible to tell that there's ever a man living there. When you moved in together, the particulates of your life disappeared. The emotional energy that would have been expended on sorting through which DVDs and video games to keep was much higher than just simply throwing them all out. And beyond those, you didn't have much else with you when you're on your own except an IKEA bed frame and a desk. Together, they cost less than a single month of rent storage fees. Your other belongings either disappeared along the way or assimilated in with hers. It was almost impossible to pick apart which was which, and you felt guilty filling up boxes with the things that you only felt a vague aura of belonging over. Now you only have a few more hours in her apartment before she comes back. And you assume she felt embarrassed asking you to come over while she was at work, only to avoid the awkward half goodbyes, or at least you hope she felt embarrassed. Maybe this was just projecting. The door was unlocked when you got there, which was odd because you still had your copy of her key. And you don't know if this made the process feel more or less like breaking and entering, but you wanted to stay longer, knowing it would be the last time you stepped foot in there, but at this point you already felt like an intruder. You pinch your nail into the metal of the carabiner and try to wiggle the key off unsuccessfully. And now it seems silly that you even had a key ring for just a single key. But giving up, you just put the whole thing on the kitchen counter anyway. You squat down to grab the final box of your stuff and turn to look at the studio apartment and realize it looks almost the same without you there. Step 2, sleep smart. You spend a great deal of your life, up to 1/3, asleep. So it's important that you take care of yourself during these hours. This can start with a good mattress. Avoid sleeping on a bed that's too soft because it doesn't offer good lumbar support and can lead to tossing and turning. In your case, however, a bed is a little bit out of reach for the next few nights. You'd be sleeping on the couch at Dave's place while you're waiting for the deposit on your new apartment to go through. The cushions smell like Febreze and balls, and you try harder to breathe through your mouth, but then you imagine the scent particulate sticking to your tongue and you take even shallower breaths. You don't know if you're sweating hard or if there's some sort of sweat synergy from his couch, and you hit your shin on the wooden frame and then hit your head on the arm as you readjust. And as you peel the rough velvet blanket off of your body, you can't grasp what it feels like to be sleepy. You're thinking too hard. Reaching around on the coffee table, feeling for your glasses, you knock them onto the ground. You close your eyes and try not to think about them, but everything feels wrong. Don't worry, you can get them later, you tell yourself. You press your eyes shut and try to clear your mind, but you can't shake the thought. You detangle the blanket from your legs and push your body off the couch. You open your eyes as wide as possible and pretend that this will help you see somehow. Patting the ground, you feel bits of dirt or old food or hair or something sticking to your palms and wonder if Dave even owns a vacuum. You start sweeping your arms back and forth along the carpet and fling mystery debris into your mouth and gag a little. It takes a while, but you locate your glasses deep under the couch. In putting them on, you look at the DVR's box clock. It's 5:40 a.m. Dread sets over you as you imagine the time trial between the rising sun and falling asleep. You get off the ground and feel your way out of the living room, moving past the kitchenette. You grab your phone from where it's plugged in to charge towards the bathroom. You flick the light on in the bathroom, and it takes a moment for your eyes to readjust as you shuffle to the toilet, put down the lid, and sit. You click on Instagram and you see her name under most recent. And as you tap through the story, you turn your phone sideways to see the videos of the stage. Her story switches suddenly to a vertical picture and you turn your head to see it. And there she is, smiling. Oh, I have low battery. Okay, that's fine. um anyway, there she is, smiling, sweating, illuminated by the flash, and under the arm of some guy. You see his upper pecs peeking out of his V-neck under his his muscular arm wrapped around her. He's taller than you. He's more in shape than you, and he's more handsome than you. And she looks really happy to be with him. Step 3, strengthen other muscles. If you're constantly hurting your back, you might want to shift your attention to the other parts of your body. If you have a weak core or legs, you end up redirecting a lot of the weight and energy onto your lower back. This means if you can whip the lagging muscles into shape, a great deal of work will be taken off your back. So try joining a gym. After all, your meals recently have consisted of the curry from the Indian place below your apartment and the leftover pizza you ordered 4 days ago, and you've been laying on the pounds. You see a leaflet in the mail for the new Crunch Fitness that opened up in the corpse of the Barnes & Noble, and you feel motivated to get in shape for the first time in your life. You walk in on Sunday morning with your new running shoes and slightly too small club basketball shirt from when you were in college. And scanning the room, you're struck with a feeling of inadequacy looking at the dozens of statuesque young people peeled from a Nike ad. You walk out and pretend that you could walk out and pretend this never happened, but a high school age kid at the front desk acknowledges you with intimidatingly confident eye contact. You fear that this Crunch Fitness employee will be twice as successful as you by the time he's 22. You've been perceived, and now you must commit. You approach the treadmills, where the only one open is next to a young woman who reminds you of a steam engine about to derail. Stepping onto the machine, you fumble with the mechanics, unable to get it started. You brace your hands and try to push the belt going and feel stupid, reminded again that your $100,000 mechanical engineering degree is proven useless. So instead, you detour to the weight rack, which is deserted besides a leathery man who's 80% torso. You glance over at Torso, who's now grunting like he's making love to his weights. You feel a bit confused as you look at his oversized, glistening, veiny arms, and you feel both an air of disgust and jealousy. His child-sized tank top, well, what remains of it from the slashed neck and sleeves, hangs off his figure awkwardly. His clean-shaven bald head glistens, and you feel a crawling itch in your temple. You can't look away from his tiny nipples, but then Torso breaks the spells by catching your eyes in the mirror. You grab the 20-pound weights off the rack in a panic. Torso grins and looks back at himself in the mirror, mouthing inspirational messages to himself again. And though you feel like you're constantly dying, you keep going back. Every morning before work, you wake up early and get to the gym, and as you move up the weights, and soon Torso's spotting you on the bench. When you run, it feels like your calves are pulling away from the bone, but you keep going. And when your lungs feel like they're filling up with mucus and you can't catch your breath, you turn up the speed, imagining V-neck's muscular arm wrapped around her. Step 4, rest. Finally, the most important part of healing is rest. After not too long, the body will repair itself and the injury. Only time will help, and soon the pain will fade. What once stung will subside. It's been a few years now, and you still run into her at Trader Joe's every so often. And it doesn't feel like she's stepping on your neck anymore. It's funny how you talk like almost strangers now. She'll ask you how you're doing, and you can honestly tell her that things have been going pretty well for you. She's broken up with her boyfriend, and you've never heard of him, but she's moving in a few weeks for work. She politely invites you to her going away party, but you both know that you won't attend, and then you agree to go, knowing that she doesn't believe it. You see the moment of recognition in her eyes that this will be the last time that you see each other, but neither of you are sad this time. You wish her well, and you actually feel happy for her. And that's 4 quick tips to save your back.
That's so good.
That was great.
I feel that way at the gym.
I made
When there was a
whole,
gym.
I made a pop-up ad for this. I
Oh,
hope
yeah.
everyone can
That's
appreciate
great.
it.
Oh wow,
Check out Claire's pop-up ad. It's beautiful.
that's great.
That
Can I pee? Is that cool? Can I take?
Go for it. Go for it. We're just gonna be chatting here. Okay, so yeah, 4 quick tips to save your. That story makes me want to go to the gym, or makes me feel like I should go to the gym. Like
For
the line
people
about the
walking alone, honestly.
the calves pulling away from the bone. Like wow, like is that why I'm not like statuesque? So let's see what we got now. Okay, so I believe Clayton is next, and this is a message for just the people reading. So I think Clayton is going to stay like muted and invisible in our Zoom call, but he's going to be streaming himself to Internet Temple. So I suggest you, like all the readers, go to internettemple.org and unmute the browser, and because I believe that's where we're going to be seeing him play. So I would recommend that. Ooh, let's see. Clayton, please tell Catherine to shout me out. My name is Evan. I need this. Hey, Evan. Please, for God's sake, this is all I have. Penelope and her new secret BF says, LOL. Someone did like a, what do you call it, a muscle emoji? Okay, so now I'm going to talk about Clayton. He's playing a musical interlude. He is the co-owner of Internet Temple, and he is the author of underrated tweets such as how to break into Domino's and make your own pizza, and orangutan learns to use a saw, 10-hour mix. He also made a game where you click to make shrimp fly across the screen, and he is very good with a green screen. And how does someone get into that anyway? Do you just wake up and order one on Amazon or some dedicated green screen site? Did he ask Santa for a green screen back in middle school? Clayton lives in Portland. I have never met him in real life. Maybe someday. Okay. Now, I see applause things. I don't know what it was for. Let's see. Someone said, oh, hi, Mindy. Let's see. Who else wants a shout out? Let's see. Oh, we're kind of on a lag, so I couldn't tell you. But anyway, I'm going to mute all of you, and then I'm going to go to Internet Temple and unmute my browser so I can listen to him play banjo. Penelope, I'm dedicating this to you, even though it's not my act.
I'm no better than Taps Man.
Okay. Let's see. Clayton is off the screen now. Hopefully there isn't like oh man, there's about to be a really long lag. Let me enter into the chat. Wait. There will be a lag, everyone. I am so sorry. Just wait, please. We are coming back. Okay. I think I can. Okay, there's my voice. There's my voice. Okay, well, that was a little bit awkward, but you know, all worth it. Everything's worth it. I'm going to unmute everyone / ask to unmute. Wow, that was immensely beautiful. I was crying the entire time.
That was art. That was art. Truly art. It was beautiful.
Oh yeah, that was special.
That was so American. I had to break out my sunflower seeds.
Oh yeah.
Embarrassed I don't have sunflower seeds right now.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Speaking of American, this reminds me of Mike and I were talking about this yesterday. There's this album called Slot Machine Music, and it's just field recordings of like a casino. And
It's amazing.
And I remember Mike was saying like, oh, this is so American. And I was just thinking like, wow, this is just the most American thing I've ever heard. I'm just like, I just feel really American right now. It's just like I really felt like connected to my country while listening to this album.
In this time?
Yo, fuck this country.
And no, the casinos are all opening. The casinos are opening. So, you know, I you know, Hamul Casino, Golden Acorn Casino, here I come. Happy birthday to me, 26th anniversary, OJ Bronco Chase. So anyway, now we're going to talk about okay, our next reader is not a musician. It is Mike, a writer like the others. Okay, so I met Mike on March 3rd of this year at an ambient show several days after I moved to Portland. And a week after that, we went to another ambient show. And we took an awkward photo booth photo, but I'm glad for it because a few days later, the lockdown began. And now the photo strip is my last relic from the normal world that we left behind. And since then, we have been trading emails about our writing projects. And Mike is your quintessential desk drawer novelist working on a postmodern novel called Easter Island, which I have read. And they have interned at Literary Arts in Portland, and I've never seen their computer. But I am willing to bet that Mike has at least 75 tabs open at all times. Oh, wow. Okay. So, they're going to be reading a story called Houses in Motion. I'm going to mute everyone except for Mike.
Okay, here we go. Am I ready? All right. So this is Houses in Motion. It's a short story that I wrote before quarantine, but it feels still somewhat relevant, I guess, in an abstract sense. Just when it was getting good, when it was all going headlong down, the reckoner rammed to a full stop. It wasn't until rescue arrived that Stunter acknowledged his neighbor. Her name was Dawn. Any plans for your big settlement? The woman was all tracksuit, wedged into an arcade-colored chair. Moving, for one. If we ever move. They were watching the sun rise down, a blot of glow steaming light off whichever county's trees these were. Upside-down water tower, upside-down man-made lake, upside-down steel, tubular and bow-legged. The pivot swayed like meat hooks. I'd move if I weren't between houses right now, Stunter said. You can see it from here. He pointed to his Tercel parked in Yosemite Sam Lot B, not the tour van which in Taz had been broken into during the night by the Six Flags cleanup crew. They waved up at the band on the roller coaster while they did it, laughing and playing Nearer My God to Thee Unplugged on their equipment. The band had videoed the whole thing with giddy delight, cheering, Sue, 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 Sue. I'm going to get this whiplash checked out, and then I'm going to take my settlement, and then I'm going to divorce him, Dawn said. Then I'm going to move. Divorce turned me around, Stunter said, refusing to admit that whether or not he was being sarcastic was completely up to him. What'd he do? He's not even an architect. He writes about architecture. Writing about music is like dancing about architecture, Stunter agreed, but that's not what I meant. Staying stuck seemed to consume a slow leaden trickle of the universe. Mechanical knuckles cramped under the weight of clutching everybody. The passengers were too many groceries bought on credit, on too long a hike home, and the humane thing to do now was called catch and release. At the bottom, firefighters and police were waving a cherry picker up to where the reckoner's line once began. He actually framed architecture is the art of balancing everyone's needs. And I'm like, hello, what about me? What about my needs? He was always spinelessly overcompromising, but it's like, do you not want any of this? Meaning her rhetorical sexuality, and she blew her bleached hair out of her face for the 8 millionth time. Can you imagine if we'd had kids? They'd be upside down too. Grouped among the black-dyed band, taking up the 2 cars ahead was an old fogey still trying to keep his Callaway hat on. As could be expected, the band had elected themselves chief spirit summoners and were still, this early in the morning, after so long a night, ministering to the locally tyrannized with a DJ set off a smartphone. I gave them that acid yesterday afternoon, Stunter said. How are they still going? Supposing the middle to be the safest had landed them locked in the loop's apex. The punks who had yesterday been too scared to sit up front were now locked in a face-off with straight down. They egged on what waited on the ground, in the ground, the way punks should, pogoing, grooving, and wrestling the restraint like it was just another instrument. Their joy swayed the framework ever closer to collapse. The young and elderly backing up the rear, and the Mormon family reunion in the matching t-shirts sitting up front were the closest to home. The official rescue operation waved and whistled from their carnival of running lights ashore, occasionally shouting, "Almost, guys, almost," regarding the ETA of Six Flags technicians who had already gone into overtime and wouldn't be able to troubleshoot the reckoner until the start of the next pay period. Temperatures dropped after the park had closed, so nobody had slept, but nobody had died either, so in a way the ribbons of steel track made the horizon appear gift-wrapped. Dawn tightened her tweedy to her chin. Speedy, who Stunter used to block out the blinding sunrise, was doing a cliffhanger bit on him rather than the other way around. The old Callaway duffer in the row ahead toked on Stunter's last spliff and passed it back to the band, playing an artifacted miniature of, "I used to think that the day would never come, that my life would depend on the morning sun." Because the duffer didn't know the words, he asked for a turn. Stunter's character looked down on him with contempt. Drones had delivered these oversized plushies tied up in 10-gallon bags to riders at random around bedtime last night in lieu of shock blankets, which couldn't be guaranteed to drape safely in such a gravitational crisis. Many plushies perished. A security guard was currently fishing Elmer Fudd out of the water with a blackjack. "I'm hanging by a moment here with you," and the punks followed suit, yarling along with old Art. "Listen to him singing," Dawn spat. "That was our song. We danced to that song at our wedding. That's art?" Stunter knew the band was starting to sound estranged already. "I just don't want to die before I get a chance to tell him I don't love him anymore." "Tell him now. Shout. Let it on out. This is Dawn's day." "I mean to his face." "You will." And Stunter leaned over to give her a pat on the shoulder. Because there was an empty seat between them, he couldn't reach that far. "Just tell me why, okay? Because I still don't know." "What is there to know but no?" "I got fired again," Stunter said. "They fired me after our last show," and he began welling up. "But here I am, always game to ride, thinking something might change. He snorted back, "was with the band." "They did not." Stunter had been the only one poor enough to get stuck wearing his own merch. Last night's vomit had more articulately overwritten the anachronism screen printed upon him. "They came here to celebrate. What am I doing here? Why do they do this to us, Dawn?" "I wish I was with him right now just so I could divorce him," Dawn said. "Right here. The way they split everybody up is unbelievable. It's worse than Delta. Why would they design the seats into threes? Just paint a hex on it. And who'd that kid think? Did you see him? Doing our seating assignments? What do you think he was, God? My architect writer husband couldn't even argue with God. I swear, if I die alone, and she wagged her so help me into the sticky mist. We're not going to die, Stunter said through a mouthful of his own stomach. Oh, now you tell me. If I didn't say it now, it definitely wouldn't survive. Say it, honey, say it all. It's all my fault, Don, wriggling out his rum from his zipper pocket. It is. I'm the one who told Art to go sit with the band. As revenge, I thought it'd be funny. I thought he'd ruin the whole ride. Who am I? Concrete waited to burst open their brains and bones, the only faces they've ever had, with eminent ordinariness. Death had sliced Stunter free from the pulp of his life, trimmed his essence into something like the fatty oils that did all the psychedelic spiral work on the surface of gray water. His brain, the drain, was clogged. Stunter had spent every night closing the dish pit and zoning on lipid radials, trippy with freedom, because once he fingered the clogs loose till the grease gurgled gone and a belching gasp of hollowed out tin sink, he got to clock out. Change. Possible only after things are already over. Stunter shivered into what little shirt he had. Don't leave him, and he broke into tears. This was supposed to be our little honeymoon, Dawn cried back. But you ever know how suddenly you look up on a Monday afternoon and they're just the moon? I don't want to be alone anymore. I can't handle any more rejection in my life, Stunter said. I can't. It's all I've ever fucking known. And he was weeping openly now, blood filling up his sinuses, arms limper than animals slipping through a claw machine. I just want to stay up here. I don't want them to rescue me. I wouldn't even deserve it. I'm not going to come down. I don't want to. Not back to moving. I'm going to say, leave me here. My job fired me for going on tour, and now my band fired me for being a speed freak, and I'm sick of touring because I always fuck up the songs when they're new, and those are always the best ones. I don't even have enough gas left in my car to make it out of the parking lot. And he finished off a pint of Captain Morgan and flung it overhead at the EMTs eating honeydew on the ground. The bottle got stuck in the sky. I told him, Don continued, I don't want to go on this ride, but Art's on this whole new kick because he knows. Art knows I'm bored. Art knows I'm about to do it. And you think a theme park is what's it? When did I ever ask for a theme? He was like, it's for research. This is his first roller coaster because he's trying to prove something. Every other one he just took pictures of. He set up an easel outside the Looney Saloon and painted the bumper cars while Bay ate funnel cake. Suddenly everything's kinetics this and kinetics that. He's starting up a kinetic firm. I'm like, which is it? What am I going to do? I told Art, I said to Art, you're going to kill the world before you save it. A drain on everyone's resources. Dawn, don't say that. They'd been upside down for so long that their tears were running down their hair, dripping onto the Mormons below. Occasionally they winked up, as if at an incontinent pigeon, but otherwise received the grief with grace. Cherry cordial on Vox ahead passed Art a Dramamine through a kiss. Then he yelped, "This is not my beautiful wife." I'm not stupid, Stunter said. I'm a bassist. I can hear love even when it's beating over a ravine. That's right, Don yelled along to the song. You're not. I can't date anyone in the band, she said. It's you or me. I made a mistake. It's always the broke who pays. The cherry picker was zooming in its mechanical mosquito sound over the lake. That's it, Don screamed, pummeling the air. I'm taking you to Fiasco's Tuscan Authenteria for breakfast. You on me. It's the only posse review Art ever gave. You've got one of those metabolisms I bet I could feed till kingdom come. Has anyone figured out a way to pee on this thing yet? I'll pee with you, Dawn said, adjusting her tracksuit, in solidarity. The lift was telescoping closer. A firefighter with a megaphone urged everyone to please just hang in there. Then the whirring sound powered down, voltaically crestfallen. Click, click, click. You gotta be shitting me. 10:35, switch to channel 2. Yeah, I'm stuck. Lights went out. I don't know what happened. Controls are out too. I can hardly even move my mouth. County officials redispatched the drone to help troubleshoot with the firefighter on the cherry picker. Six Flags early birds were rubbernecking outside the front gate. Someone in a Red Sox hat pelted the dangling hostages with rocks, but they all stuck to the air. What's your group called, Sugar? Binary Flip, Stunter said. We're really going to go places. What? Don yelled, hair now in a full-blown freakout. A roaring helicopter had descended above their shoes, but was struggling in place, idling like a Playmobil on a glass-top coffee table. I said we're really going to go places. Yes, we are, sugar. Will you hold my hand, Dawn? Hold mine, baby. And Dawn flexed her outstretched fingers the way toddlers do when it's time to cross the street. It won't reach. I know, just pretend. Pretend what? Pretend Art's in the seat between us. And the rotors blew loose the surrounding box elder seeds and their music of little downward spirals.
Pretend Art's in the seat between us is like, I barely even know what that means, but for some reason that line just feels really iconic to me. I just like sometimes say it to myself for no reason. Cool, now you know something new about me. So anyway, thank you for that story. Let's see what nice things. People were saying some funny things in the chat. People were saying, when's Spielberg gonna direct? Someone said, this is Ready Player One. Wait, what is it? Okay.
Well, I'm sorry, that was me, but that wasn't.
Wait, Claire.
Me.
Wait, Claire. Wait, no, it was a joke. What did you say again?
I said this is just Ready Player One for music nerds, but like not in a mean way.
Then wait, someone else said, I'm pretty sure half of this is references. But no. But I say these things all.
But they're great references.
I say these all very affectionately. I am a big fan of this story. Big fan. I'm very excited that story was just read to an audience of an unknown number. Clayton, don't tell me how many people watched. So next we have Hannah Fleming.
Oh.
The first time I said that I was going to badmouth someone, but I decided not to. Well, there's another person I'm going to badmouth right now. Sorry, Mom. Oh,
wait,
God,
are you going to amend the earlier intro?
No, I'll just send you guys an email saying who it was, and you guys are gonna be like, I've never heard of that guy. So
Okay.
The first time I ever talked about Hannah is with Jackson Foster, who called her Yoga Hannah. Luckily, Jackson Foster is out of our lives now because he's a crazy vegan eco-fascist who made an OnlyFans. But we sure have bonded over hating him. I got to know Hannah our sophomore year of college when we had beginning fiction writing class. She wrote a story about the founder of an antivirus software going to a yoga retreat, and that story subsequently got second place in a college writing competition, a competition I was never able to win in any fashion. Hannah lives in Atlanta and teaches yoga. She teaches me yoga over FaceTime, and she is involved in the local DIY arts community, playing vocals and guitar in her all-to-death country band Lowtown. She has a tattoo that says D or Y or die. Give it up for Hannah.
So, I just got back from a protest pretty shortly before I tuned in. So it's been kind of a long day and I'm a little zonked right now. So, we'll see how this goes. It was pretty cool seeing a police car get set on fire. I'm really happy about that. Killer Mike has commented on the protest and said, fill out your census. So that's good. Yeah, it's really crazy how like all of the like TI is like, oh yeah, like no, this should stop. Like, it's pretty crazy the way that prominent Atlantans are still reacting to it. Anyways, I guess I'm gonna read some poems because I was told to do that. So let's see what I'm gonna read. Oh, my phone's on 10%. Okay, sick. Well, it might die. So this one's called Portrait of a Donut as a Young Whole. Wrapped in sugar I cried into myself until I tasted salt. Donut shops are disappearing behind lesbian bars because no one likes eating their Wheaties anymore. There are too many holes to be filled, and the holes that needed filling were already full. This kid on her $1 shit wants to sit on the cake where he eats it. You taught me to include the constellations, and in my attempt, I scattered powdered sugar in honor of past patterns. You've come to know the tunnel inside of me better than anyone. How deep it goes, what could be scraped off. Wanderlust is substitute for spelunking, for the moments where your mouth fills with soft and supple, and it is uncomfortable. Slow your roll, chew with your teeth. I've traveled as a party of 1 hour sleep to sit on a bench brown paper bag blanket without you, and it is truly a mouthful of morning. I don't even read the ads on the subway. It is just my reality, not paying attention, no storage capacity. Missing from the center like I've been hit by an expert dart player too many times, or mauled by a bear. I remember having desire to be both Robin Hood and the masses. Instead, I got stuck floating in the wave pool at Six Flags. When I returned years later, the E. coli had frozen over. It was special, and so I wrote How to Find Life. The frozen androgens, hunched over time tubes and inner rafts with their Bluetooths. If I were to return again, free donuts, even for those who had trespassed. Nothing like catching flies with sugar, I mean friends, I mean until they bite down and discover you contain salt. After all, that is the hardest practice. No matter how many chemicals are in the application, you can never be truly fresh, and you will always be accountable for your ingredients. I cried into myself because I have a hole to fill. The flakes will pass through my airways, and I will be reminded of your huge, fake blueberry gaze, how you stole my Oxycontin just by standing next to me. I needed it to breathe in this sobering century, both enlightenment and second coming. I'll even take the bench with me so I can bench myself as needed. You will sit beside me and critique my glaze. I'd like that, I think. Sometimes you just start thinking. I'd like to thank Jesus for not shaving me and the anonymity afforded by New York City so that I could lend my unique perspective to this particular and completely unshared loneliness. Cool. This definitely feels like navel gazing, talking into a void sort of situation. This next one is called Peter Pan Island. We chortled a whole cornucopia of wind instruments. All we do now is beyond grasp, which is often sing loudly in every key all at once. We drink shoe polish if hungry. Our steel appendages steal back the clock by becoming magnets. This human dumpster planet forged the adult citizen anklet from a gold chain tied to an empty treasure chest. This human dumpster planet writes off your losses if you're too old to write them at all. Hope is an untethered habit. We cannot hope to be a thing with feathers if there are no birds, sir, in this dumpster. The Snake Charmer is original television. What use are humans marooned in the magic of our own making, cutting holes in the sky too large to make love in, evaporating corn syrup for breakfast? Just look at this planet boomer. Okay, poised on the lips of every bird song composed by a robot with a face tat, and every makeshift shanty along the landslide of every future fault line. Who made the Big Bang boom is what we're getting at, and it wasn't you. We wake up with spears pointed at our shadows. We end our days unlearning every fantasy we've ever had. Imagine a landfill without license. We can, You can't without striking a match and pouring out emulsion for every brass that did not live to experience the loudest decade in the history of time as we know it. Wind turbines and aerodynamic burdens. If you do not believe, it does not exist, and it never will. And Tinkerbell will lay there dead, and the audience will clap, and it will never, never end. Thanks. Fuck. Okay, well now some short ones. I have no idea what is happening with time, so that's good. We'll go with dough. This one's called dough, spelled D-O-U-G-H. We could have had a picnic. Too many backflips. Love, too abundant, weighty, costly, precious. Stone cold drunk as a fox, eyes like bar darts. All the live long time. What is the boiling temperature of the whipped? Chocolate chips like a circle of slugs in the dough that never decomposes. They sectioned off the organics. Chemistry too complicated. Small boys can only mimic their mother's voices. The heart is a muscle, naturally. It accrues fat. The head is too thick. The cherries are around and I've never tied my tongue so hard, trying to prove. It needs lotion, this basket, so raw, so opaque, with purpose. We could have unpacked it. We blinked and it rotted. Okay. Do I have time for like 3 more short ones? Something, whatever. Okay. I have this person that I talk to, you know, like somebody who you're friends with, but like it's kind of insufferable, but like they support you and you want to support them, but like shit's weird. I don't know. He's really into like, okay, it's like, yeah, the fruits of your labor right now are happening, you know, it's like quarantine. I'm like, need money. And I'm like, okay, yeah, where are the fruits? This is called Where Are the Fruits? Okay. I'm finally becoming the still life that serves no purpose. Every day that I do not cut the vine before it gestates fully is a triumph. I cry for no one in my dreams. The concept of reaping fruit from labor is presumptuous, partially a lie, and sits adjacent to utmost horror. A lover once told me there is power in anonymity. He left me, but held me first while I shook with exhaustion. He said I was a mirror. Of course I was. Does marzipan reflect the nature of a lemon? In the garden, so many good strawberries fallen. The survivors are arranged in boxes and shipped off. What do you eat if all you eat is our best and brightest? Circumstantially, of course. Okay. 2 more? Short? I don't know. Is this long? I have no idea. Okay. This one's called Violence. I dream in threes. The first panel is light gray, the second navy, the third pitch black. Hallway closet, you live in, I liken to success. Not a threat, but 1,000 livid legends in one log cabin. The roof is an asterisk. The happy doormat. The underside of your bottom lip. Pink shoe chew on it. The shadows lend definition. All we wanted was lightning bolts for eye sockets. I can hear the entire forest crying in the furnace. They built it inside of there. I don't have proof, because they cocked it, set the fire loose on the lawn just to see how far it could spread. Okay, last one. This one was inspired by, I don't know if y'all have seen the latest Harmony Korine film or are familiar with Moondog, but this was inspired by him. Partially. An abridged version was published. It's called On This Day. On this day in 1969, women marched for peace. Their words melted like ice cream, the cone of a neglectful planet. The crisis of flat earthers sailed to the edge of Antarctica and said, I think I could get used to how peaceful this is. A woman spied a gratified sign that read, this won't last. Rubberneck became reality. The abandoned building stayed abandoned. 3 businessmen linked arms and skipped down the street. Every cell phone disappeared in a cloud of sweet, trembling light. Fame forgave itself. I took a shit. It didn't matter that I was late or that I'd had a cup of coffee and a lover every day for the last 3 years. He still wanted my pussy, which, as I'm writing this, is distracting to me. It looks good even when flaccid. Goddamn. That's it. That's the reading.
No, it's not the whole reading. It's just Hannah's. Don't, come on. Hang on. I'm trying to unmute or ask to unmute everyone. All right. Okay. Is everyone Claire? Unmute. Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone log off before Catherine goes.
Good one.
No,
okay, let's see.
can't do
Let's
that.
see. Okay, wow. So Michael, you've been the one in the okay, there are two Michaels in the chat. Let's see. Hello, both Michaels in the chat. One an older friend, one a more recent friend. So anyway, right. Okay. Is everyone Claire? Unmute. Wait. Okay. Why am I hearing myself? I'm so annoyed right now. Good one. Okay. Sorry, I just totally heard myself. So, okay. So, thank you, Hannah. That was beautiful. So here's an interlude I forgot to read. I was going to read it after Clayton's thing, because there was supposed to be like a green screen involved, but then he went for like pure backyard. That's completely fine. But here is my little green screen riff. So I was thinking, I have no plans to get married to anyone right now, but wouldn't it be cool to do a Zoom wedding where you use a green screen to map yourself and your loved one onto your favorite video game location? Think about it. Getting married on a Super Mario Brothers 3 airship. What a great idea. Haha, I'm funny. Okay, so anyway.
That's a great idea.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you. Let's oh my god. Okay, let's see yeah, I'm not Jason, I'm not the headliner. I am made myself last so everyone would wait for me. Okay. So Galia just changed her name to Michael in the chat. Let's see. Everyone just changed their name to Michael. Okay, so guys, actually I have a zine idea. I came up with it last year. And you guys can submit if you want. I'm gonna do a zine where everybody writes a story about, or like a non-fictional story about someone they know named Michael. And Adrian, do you wanna
so we were talking about this last night, and I was like, wait, that's so funny you say that, because when, before all this shit hit, and when I was still working at my old bar, I started working on a zine called The All Michael Dinner Party, all caps, one word. because I realized that I had at least 9 dudes who were all regulars named Michael, but were wildly different dudes. So my idea for this scene was like to write like a recipe book of what do these dudes order, and then here's a vignette about their lives, or like what I think I know about their lives based on conversations I have with them when they're shit-faced. So I think this should go as like an insert into your zine or something. Like we have to meld these visions somehow of these dudes named Michael who occupy our lives.
So by this point, I think like there are like maybe 7 people in the chat named Michael. But anyway, so yeah, so the Michael zine might happen. And if your name is Michael, or if you go by a shortened version of Michael, you could write about your own name if you wanted. You don't have
to.
God,
everyone's changing their name to Michael. Chaos.
Oh man, okay. Well, thank you, Michael. So I am going to be reading last, and thank you all for coming. I just thank you for waiting to see me at the end. Now you finally get to see me, Catherine Sino, the person who invited you. And you know, you sat through all these people you probably didn't know. Check out my LaCroix. Oh, someone asked for a lamb earlier. Oh shit! Oh, sorry, Mom. You didn't want me to swear. Okay, so this is Lammy.
Lammy.
Yeah, Lammy. And then this is Jameson.
After the liquor?
Well, yeah, actually, someone I knew from CC named Jonathan Tigner named him. He saw this polar bear and he's like, his name is Jameson. He was probably named after the liquor.
It's Jameson that matters, I suppose. So.
Mike Letary at class rise up. I know of these people. So someone recognized the name Jonathan Tigner. Let's see. No swearing, Christian chat. Will the real Slim Michael please mute chat? Oh, this is great. Okay, so okay, I need to start reading my thing because I said I would, and this is a reading, not a listen to Catherine talk party. So this is a poem. I'm going to be reading 2 things that are relevant to our current coronavirus climate. And one of these things is, oh my God, I can't stop looking at the chat. There's just a lot of Michaels right now. Okay. Just deep. No. Breathe out the Michael. So anyway, okay, take a deep, long sip of my LaCroix. So this is a poem I wrote in, I believe, maybe like November of 2017, kind of like right after Donald Trump got elected, actually. And it's kind of it's a tribute to Apple computers, something that many of us are using a lot now.
I love this one.
Thank you. Let's see. So let's go. Oh man, let's see. Oh, okay. Catherine, don't look at the chat. People tell me all the nice things they're saying later, like screenshot them for me or something. Okay. This poem is called Apple Makes It Easy. I got my first Apple computer when I was 11. The family PC was slow, and I begged my parents, please, please, please buy me a Mac. Oh, I need to mute everyone. I'm not hosting very well right now. I muted myself on accident. Okay. You can call it a Mac, or you can call it an Apple. 2 totally different words to describe one brand. I am still trying to think of a parallel. After a year of begging, my parents told me I could buy a Mac. I was over the moon. We went to the mall on a weekday evening. My parents consulted with the salesman for 3 hours inside the Apple store. The man had a beard, wanted to speak to me, the shy kid, about my powerful new computer. He was probably a welcoming, warm lifesaver, but I was scared to talk to older men. He sent us home with an iMac, beautiful and white, hard drive housed within the screen. Bearded man from 2006, you are my technology hero. At home, I washed my face with warm water and walked downstairs to the computer room, and I knew then that this was my home. A new, glowing home. The lights on a dimmer were turned low and golden, and the desktop wallpaper, which my parents always erroneously called screensaver, a habit which rubbed off on me, was a delicate field of wispy, low aperture dandelions. There began an odyssey of GarageBand, a young girl's ultimate creativity dream, some PowerPoint art thrown in for good measure. I received a MacBook for my 16th birthday and an iPhone when I was 17. I replaced my MacBook when I was 20 and my iPhone shortly before I turned 21. I have watched iMovie features fizzle out and disappear, which the message boards do not take kindly to. People tell me Apple is evil and that PCs have more games available on Steam, but I like iMessage. I don't know if I could give up iMessage. I betray Apple in some ways. I use Dropbox and Google Docs. I look upon the empty comfort of iCloud, a dusty interface waiting for the love of my documents. It is like a grandparent I never call. Thank you at least, dearest Apple, for never telling me my iCloud is lonely. Not Blockbuster, her lonely wails into my answering machine that still echo from the year of her death. If you are reading this, ask yourself if you had a beard and worked at the San Diego UTC Apple Store in May 2006. Your name may have been Travis, Trevor, Brian, or something else completely. Thank you. That was the end of my poem. Let's see what everyone's saying right now. Let's see. Okay, it's just some stuff about desktop wallpapers. So my next story is also relevant to our current COVID climate. It was written, I wrote it in January of 2018, and it was published in February of 2020, which is a month before the pandemic started. And this story is called Love Letter to a Failed Restaurant. And I think it's relevant because a lot of restaurants are struggling right now, and some have shut down. For example, Soup Plantation, which not many of us will miss. A comment about that is going to appear in the chat, I guarantee you. So that's the only restaurant I thought of that straight up shut down, but I'm sure many more are, and we're mourning them deeply. So I'm going to begin reading my story. Love Letter to a Failed Restaurant. You lived and died in a Southern California shopping center. A center new and devoid of personality, anchored by a Trader Joe's. There you were, by the elevator, a chic restaurant with a color palette of yellows, silvers, and whites. A bar stacked with expensive liquor and a fire pit on the patio, your little fig logo topping it off. I noticed you vaguely, and I never ate in you. I turned my sights elsewhere, like the sports gastropub serving up burgers in the acai bowl place that also offered juice cleanses. Around Thanksgiving, my sister and I drove by you. We were going to eat somewhere. That wasn't you. That place is dead, she said of you. Nobody goes there. They have single nights at the bar there. I wonder if anyone shows up. Probably nobody. Wouldn't it be a dream if people showed up? For you to be a piece of bread that could draw these little water droplet people out of their homes, houses lined up in the cushy gated communities where everything looks the same? These little single water droplets could be sucked into your fluffy goodness and huddle. You could be a cool place. You could be filled with awe-inspiring people. But you are more single than I've ever been in my entire life. Lonelier than when I ate lunch alone in middle school. I survived, and here I am today, loved by many friends and a smarty boyfriend who plays the stock market. I don't need to have a ton of customers and get great reviews to stay alive. I can exist as long as I eat food, any food, and don't fall victim to fatal tragedies. I'm one of the lucky ones. I'm not a restaurant. Nor do I own one. I never set foot inside your doors. Maybe it's because my sister put a shame label on you. But you were shame all on your own, with your vacant chairs and sleek beauty nobody would touch with a long pole. Your owner must have lied in bed, crying, hoping tomorrow someone would come and give you their love. Waiters must have been bored. They might have thought, my job is easy, but I wish my job were exciting. Now this will be stamped on my resume forevermore. All while you sweated bullets and shedded tears, wondering, will I ever be loved? Will I die today? I walked by you near Christmas time, headed for yet another acai bowl. You were finally closed up, crashed and burned. A sign made of computer paper hung on the window, adhered with Scotch tape. Furniture for sale! It read in 60-point Helvetica with a phone number in smaller font below. I tried not to look past the sign into your gutted interiors. Does this really need to happen? It's like that micro story about the baby shoes. I'd be surprised if anyone took your chairs. Why would the wealthy people in this area want abandoned restaurant furniture? I'm not rich like that, but I couldn't touch you this time either. Just like when you were alive. I wish I could have made it all better. But I was too afraid to eat in you. To tell you the truth, I wish you were cool. I wish you could be a money laundering scheme or a little neighborhood dive. But now, you're the neighborhood scar. I wonder if things would be better if I put you somewhere else. I wonder which neighborhood would hail you. Little Italy, La Jolla, maybe another city, New York, LA? I want to pick you up and gently put you down in a place that will shoot you to the stars. They say sociopaths are people who treat people like furniture. But what if I love furniture? What if I cry when I see buildings get hit by wrecking balls on TV? I'd love to take you, all of you, all the failed restaurants, stack them together, and build a city. Every single establishment would get all my love. I'd take in visitors, but they'd be evenly distributed, so every restaurant would have its day. Everyone would make tons of money. Everyone would be so loved. You would be loved. All right, that's
Oh,
I'm unmuting everyone.
highly erotic.
Honestly.
Honestly, really. Somebody, one of the Michaels in the chat was saying EGOT.
Wait, what is that? What does that mean?
It's Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thanks.
It's when you win all the awards.
All of them. For that stuff.
Thank you. I've never, well, I haven't like really read the story in front of an audience. But that was the first time I tried to read it to myself in kind of like that way.
Fantastic performance.
It was good. It was
Thank you. That
great chance to debut the fake crying.
Thank you. I was almost crying.
Are you reading another one?
I could read one more. I kind of have a kind of a controversy. This is like, maybe some of you have heard. I'm trying to think if any of you have heard this one. No, actually, none of you. I think maybe Penelope in the chat has heard this poem read live. It's let's see. Okay, Mom and Dad, please. I respectfully ask you to get off this video because this is, I mean, you don't have to get off, or like you don't have to close the window, but this poem is it is I'm looking for it. It's out there. It's a little out there. And it's more out there than a very moaning, sexually read poem about a restaurant or story about a restaurant. Okay, let me check the chat. Just gonna EGOT is my Myers-Briggs type. Good one. Okay. vote to rename Internet Temple to Soup Plantation. Oh, brilliant.
Okay,
Let's
can
see.
I say I put Sue Plantation Jones, and I didn't think it got any of the attention it deserved. I was proud of my joke.
Let's see. It's good when she asks the parents to go. Good one. Okay, so I'm going to mute everyone again. Thank you guys so much for staying such a long time. Like, this event has almost run 2 hours now because we're having so much fun. And wow, I'm so appreciative. And you guys will not be sorry because this poem is, it's something. Okay. And this will be the last thing I read. This poem is untitled. I know of a boy whose psyche took a nosedive in the 7th grade. His classmates didn't like him. They made sly jabs, but nobody ever pushed him into a locker, and the teachers didn't notice or care, and he never brought it up. At home, he locked himself in his room and went online. His parents became concerned in a generic parental way. His dad pushed medical science. His mom pushed dance class and vitamins. The dad had a more forceful personality, and so off the boy went to Dr. Papadakis, who had old people smell. Dr. Papadakis made the boy feel uncomfortable and wrote an illegible prescription for Zoloft. The boy took 50 milligrams a day, because that's just what you do. Oh, Tim, I'm gonna mute you, sorry. Okay, you take it and you don't question it. The boy hit puberty. He grew hair and shot up a few inches. His voice deepened, but he never got an erection. He knew his peers and his 2 real friends were talking about their junk when they offhandedly said boner, as if the boy was supposed to laugh or know what they were talking about. He found porn online and saw a tan, muscular man sliding his dick into a tan woman with a young body but an old face, and maybe a wig. He knew now that this is what sex was, and he felt no interest. His penis kept hanging, limp and dormant. He learned over time that most boys jerked off every day. Their dicks became hard and long, they would pull like there was no tomorrow, and at the end, semen would shoot out. It was a sex simulation, preparing for impregnation attempts of tomorrow. He met a girl when he was 17, a brunette who often wore red shirts and played trombone in the marching band. He had grown into a handsome young man himself, not knowing how handsome he was, his self-image only retaining the mess he was at 13, when he really looked at himself in a mirror for the first time. They drove to an arcade and they played real analog pinball and ate cheeseburgers. Another day, they watched her DVD set of Friends and made popcorn and poured on spices from his mom's cabinet. Another night, in the backseat of her Kia, enshrouded in darkness and a sliver of moonlight, she touched his cock. She touched and touched, but soon realized that it would remain squishy, heavy, and flexible. After a few more tries on a few more dates, she broke the silence. "Why can't you get hard?" she said. "Every other guy I've been with gets hard." "I'm not sure," he said. "It just doesn't happen." She was not understanding. She had a fire in her soul that she needed putting out. In a couple weeks, she was gone. There was another girl, one with curly hair who wanted to go to culinary school. She rejoiced when he told her, "I just don't get hard. Not sure why." Men had pressured her, and she was tired of dick. She was also a lesbian, but didn't know it yet. She loved not touching his penis. She loved not getting filled by cock. They did jigsaw puzzles and saw action movies and roasted marshmallows in his fire pit. One day she left him to focus on her future, plus they had run out of things to talk about. And one day, a new psychiatrist came into the picture. Dr. Papadakis by then was retired and dying of pancreatic cancer, but the boy wasn't aware of that. The psychiatrist was a woman with glasses and a bright smile who mentioned that Zoloft could stunt your sex drive. The boy's resounding what shook walls and killed bacteria. She told her husband about it when she got home. 1 week later, the boy became hard for the first time at 19 years old, a strong, painful erection that lasted around an hour. His cock was slightly above average size, it turned out. He took it in his hand and played with it with less familiarity than most middle school boys. His first orgasm had been waiting for 7 years. He came on his bedsheets and wondered what in the world was happening. What was this? Who was he? And how would he ever escape the reality of his body? I'm unmuting everyone.
That was my favorite piece of yours.
That was
that you-
incredible.
Yeah. Read.
Overall, or just from tonight?
Just tonight.
Okay. Well, cool. Well, I'm glad that, I'm glad you guys, I'm glad you found value in that work. So now I guess, let's see. Okay, people are doing some little clapping in the chat, and I think that that story killed bacteria. Let's see. Let's see what I'm just gonna wait for a couple comments to roll, and then we can kind of all say bye.
How can we escape reality?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. Well, actually, Ethan's poem had a clue. It's like, you are so close to being a body without organs.
Ooh.
So, anyway, well, I guess that's it for tonight. Let's see. Clayton, you don't want to come on screen and say hi?
I think it's a no.
Wow, just okay, well, you can just all imagine what he looks like. Or you can go to my Instagram, look at the tagged the photo that has a bunch of tags in it. Oh, Clayton's putting himself on the stream, but only on Internet Temple. Or you could go to the tagged photos and look at his Instagram. I think there are some photos of him there if you look hard enough. So let's see. Clayton, let me see your beautiful face. Why does Clayton hate us?
He's a shy lad.
Clayton just put his Instagram handle in there, clayton.online.
Ooh.
It's it's a great Instagram. Check it out. So anyway,
I think I missed some chat that was happening this whole time.
There's
on
been a lot of chat.
The Internet Temple?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been a good it's been pretty good.
I took a lot of screenshots. I'll send you some.
I'm sad while I was reading, I didn't get to read, of course, any of the comments that were mine, but
yeah,
it's for other people to enjoy.
Yeah. So it's ephemeral.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right. Well, I guess that's it. Clayton, you can disconnect us from the stream.
Farewell, everybody.
Or no, yeah, bye. Wait, Zoom call, stay on the call. But just disconnect us from Internet Temple. Good night.
Good night, audience.
Night.